Roughly 20 to 30% of all attacks exploit known vulnerabilities within applications. Let's hop in the tech and show you exactly how you can utilize AI query to identify and remedy those vulnerabilities before they get exploited. Okay, pretty cool new feature I'm super jacked up to talk to you all about because I had this kind of revelation mid last week and was like, screw it, I'm going to make an AI mode that does this. So, without further ado, I've referenced prior how AI query can help with spot checks between vulnerability scans. It absolutely can, but it's actually a little bit tricky in how because you have to actually cast the version number as an integer to then do comparisons against. It can be a pain writing a query for that. So I was like, you know what? I'll actually write an AI mode that will go ahead and perfectly format it. But then I had the idea, why don't I integrate national vulnerability data into this so that what it actually does is it looks for the latest non-vulnerable version by looking at the 10 most recent reported vulnerabilities for a given application, and then creates a nice pretty query that looks for all versions of XYZ application that you specify in your environment that are less than the last known vulnerable version. So very simple. Again, you just specify a mode. So if you forgot, modes are ways that we actually provide context into AI generation. So of course you can always just use general if you're not sure. But in this case, if you want to spot check vulnerabilities, go to the vulnerability mode and then type something like Chrome, keep it nice and simple and hit generate. And in just a few minutes here, or a few seconds here, you'll see a query pop up. They'll actually give you information about the latest Chrome vulnerabilities. All right, and here we have it. Okay, cool. We see an 85% confidence score. And if we drop that down, this looks like a lot. Well, luckily we have the nice little formatter right here, so we can see it's actually a lot easier to read, but this is kind of what I was talking about. It's a pretty complex query in order to actually say, how do we determine all versions less than this number? You have to cast each one of these as an actual substring and yada, yada, yada. Imagine typing this yourself. That would be so difficult, but again, that's where AI and the AI query and especially the context piece comes in within the respective mode. If we scroll all the way down, we can actually see a description which specifies, Chrome installations with versions older than the specified version on Windows endpoints, and these versions are impacted by multiple vulnerabilities, and you can actually go ahead and search those vulnerabilities in the NVD if you wanted to, but I just like giving a little bit of context so that you're aware of what's going on. But what we can do is just really simply hit accept. They'll populate it over here on the left hand side. So we have our nice, beautiful, very complex looking, but actually in reality, pretty simple query. We'll title it Chrome vulns, and then we'll specify devices. And what I'll do is I'll actually go over and just say all my Windows devices. I think that's like 5 machines. And then I'll hit submit. So now the query's been submitted. And if we go over, we can see right here, Chrome vulns, one agent group. And then if we refresh, we'll see most of the results are trickling in. And then we can see we have most of the results. We're still waiting on this guy right here, but I can tell you he doesn't have a vulnerability because he did when I started making this, and then I updated the version of Chrome. But if we check it out, we can actually see, rather than breaking down, every single aspect of casting that, we're seeing the name, the publisher, the version that exists on that machine, which we can see 145.0.7632117, but the really important part is the 117 right there at the end. So that's major, minor, build, patch. And then we can see here under the oldest non-vuln version, right? It says 145.0.7236.160. So we can see 117 and 160. Thus, this version of Chrome is vulnerable on this device. We can also see the install date as well as the install location and the uninstall string. So if for whatever reason, rather than updating it, you want to remove that application entirely and then deploy an entirely new one or something of that nature, you have the requisite information there. So quick, simple. This works for a multitude of different applications. I just like picking Chrome because it tends to be a little bit complex from the version. But if you did it for Python, which I have examples of, if we go actually back to the view query results page, we can see I did the same exact thing for Python, and I have a lot more vulnerable versions of Python across my environment. But that's basically the gist of it. So new mode allows you to spot check vulnerabilities, and literally all you have to do is specify which application you want to search for, and then let AI and the background magic and cross references to NVD do the rest. So hopefully you guys thought that was as cool as I do, because that's kind of just an awesome feature of, hey, is this vulnerable? Let me check it. Awesome, it's not, or it is. Let's take action. So that's all. Hopefully that was interesting. And yeah, if you have any more suggestions for use cases or specific modes that would be helpful, please let me know. Otherwise, check out our videos on YouTube and LinkedIn. And until next time, everybody, see ya.